With tensions high on the Korean peninsula, South Korean, U.S., and Japanese envoys to the six-way nuclear talks will meet in Washington next week. U.S. President Barack Obama will return to South Korea this month. He'll be here for 2 days as part of a 4 Asian nation tour. And top Korean actor Lee Byung-hun has been tapped to join the cast of Terminator 5, scheduled for release next year. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Thursday, April 3rd. I'm Luke Clary. South Korean, U.S., and Japanese envoys to the six-way nuclear talks are to meet in Washington next week. The negotiators have a lot to discuss amid the high tensions created by North Korean missile launches.
The meeting of the South Korean, U.S., and Japanese envoys to the six-party nuclear talks, which was agreed upon at the trilateral summit last month, will take place next week in Washington, D.C. Washington's diplomatic sources say the three nations have agreed to hold a meeting in the capital and are currently discussing on the final itinerary. The meeting will be held in the U.S. because Korea and Japan still remains at odds over their historic disputes. The nuclear talks envoys of the three nations met for the last time in November last year. At the upcoming meeting, the envoys are expected to discuss joint measures to counter Pyongyang's possible additional provocations, such as another nuclear test that the North mentioned recently. They'll likely send a strong warning message to Pyongyang with regard to its recent missile and multiple rocket launches and maritime military drills. The three nations could also urge China to persuade North Korea in a more active way to abandon its nuclear program. China is also a member nation of the six-way nuclear talks. Meanwhile, Seoul will designate its envoy to the six-party talks this week. The former envoy Cho Tae-yong has been appointed as first Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs.
The ROK U.S. Combined Forces commander has pointed out North Korea's provocation pattern every spring, stressing the need to beef up security to be prepared for more provocations.
The ROK U.S. Combined Forces Commander Curtis M. Scaparrotti said at a recent meeting of the U.S. House of Representatives that North Korea's provocations were not surprising.
It's the normal pattern of messaging his displeasure with our training, messaging their capabilities.
Scaparrotti said that Pyongyang usually stages provocations in March and April every year in order to express its leader Kim Jong-un's displeasure with the ROK U.S. Combined Forces Command's military training and to demonstrate its military power. Scaparrotti added that even if North Korea stages provocations, Seoul and Washington have sufficient capacity to deter them. But he pointed out that the North has increased its asymmetric military capability and can attack the South without notice by using its conventional forces stationed in the demilitarized zone. The commander stressed that both South Korea and the U.S. must bolster their intelligence watch and reconnaissance capacity in order to prevent attacks by North Korea. In his report to the House of Representatives, Scaparrotti said that Kim Jong-un is trying to protect his regime by threatening the international community by way of demonstrating his military might rather than through isolation.
U.S. President Barack Obama will return to South Korea this month. He'll be here for 2 days as part of a 4 Asian nation tour.
U.S. President Barack Obama will arrive in South Korea on April 25th. Diplomatic sources say that Obama will stay for 2 days in Seoul as originally planned. Although the White House has not yet announced a detailed itinerary, the U.S. president will likely to fly to South Korea after a 3-day stay in Japan. This will mark Obama's 4th visit to South Korea since he took office. During his stay, the U.S. president will hold a summit with President Park Geun-hye. The two leaders will reaffirm solid alliance between the two countries and discuss the North Korean nuclear issue and the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. Observers had predicted that Obama's stay in Japan could be shortened if South Korea was added to his itinerary. However, Japan has set forth in persuading the U.S. to keep the original schedule intact. The U.S. president will fly to Malaysia and the Philippines after wrapping up his stays in Japan and South Korea.
South Korean authorities believe that the 2 unidentified drones found over the last few weeks originated in North Korea. The evidence includes North Korean-style inscriptions on the aircraft.
a drone was found in Paju, north of Seoul, on March 24th. A camera and a battery inside the aircraft were inscribed with the phrases 기용 날짜 and 사용 중지 날짜, which mean employment date and expiration date. The way 날짜 is written here is how North Koreans say date. The drone's flight route, photographed in the camera, shows that it flew from North Korea and hovered over Seoul. It crashed in Paju as it tried to return to the north. During its crash, it used a military parachute. The amount of fuel left in the engine was sufficient for a return trip to North Korea.
우리 군은 파주에서 추락한 무인기에 대한 합동조사 결과 북한에 의한 소행의 가능성을 두고 현재 정밀 조사 중에 있습니다.
South Korean military authorities believe that another drone that crashed on South Korea's Pyongyang Island also crossed over the border. The unmanned aircraft was caught on the South Korean Air Force's radar, detected as flying south of North Korea. The military said that South Korean Marines shot some 300 rounds of artillery shells when the aircraft flew into South Korea's airspace. But the military added that it has not been confirmed whether the drone was shot down by the barrage.
Last year, 6 out of 10 young people failed to find jobs. Perhaps that's why a growing number of young Koreans are turning their eyes toward overseas job markets.
These people are preparing to find employment in Japan in the second half of this year. They work on their Japanese skills and information technologies 8 hours a day in order to become computer programmers. They receive government subsidies of around $7,500 a year. Most of those who complete the program find jobs as IT technicians in Japanese corporations.
일본에 가서는 어느 정도 자기가 실력이 있으면 이제 일을 하고 싶을 때까지 일을 할 수 있기 때문에.
Last year, the youth employment rate in Korea was 39.7%. As the job market remains tight, a growing number of young Koreans are turning their eyes overseas. The government statistics show that more than 4,000 Koreans landed jobs in other countries in 2012 alone. These days, young Koreans land on jobs overseas in various areas such as IT, construction, and service. But they still face hurdles due to the lack of information on employment and language barrier.
정보를 쉽게 얻을 수가 없었어요. 그게 다 가장 힘든 거였고요. 일단 그리고 언어가 안 되니까.
The Korean government plans to raise the youth employment rate to 47.7% by 2017 by subsidizing training costs and connecting job seekers to their potential employers outside of Korea.
우리 청년들이 해외로 나갈 수 있는 하나의 그 다리, 혹은 확실한 그 길 이런 걸 개척하자는 의미에서.
The government has also requested Korean diplomats stationed overseas to help solve visa-related problems for Korean job seekers.
With the coming of spring, many people report problems with their skin. You've heard it before, but it bears repeating. Sunscreen and proper hydration are the best way to combat seasonal skin problems.
In the spring, as the weather gets warmer, the nation is frequently hit by yellow dust storms. An increasing number of people go see dermatologists for their skin troubles.
날씨도 따뜻해지면서 이제 조금 간지럽기도 하고요. 붉어지는 기운도 조금 있고 그것이 올라오는 것도 있는 것 같아가지고.
People often get skin problems in the spring as the body temperature goes up and the secretion of sebum is stimulated. You can also get freckles due to the dry weather and more exposure to the ultraviolet rays.
보통 초기 증상으로는 이제 햇볕을 많이 노출하거나 이럴 때 붉어지는 증상이나 그다음에 이제 자극감, 따가움이나 가려움증 같은 게 호소될 수 있고 심한 경우에는 굳은 발진 같은 게 생깁니다.
To prevent these skin troubles, don't forget to put on masks and sunscreen when going out. People are advised to get a lot of rest and to drink plenty of water. Medical experts stress that washing one's face upon returning home is helpful to prevent skin troubles that result from the seasonal yellow dust.
Korean markets aren't especially well known for fresh, tasty sausages. However, there's a simple appliance on the market that makes it easy to make your own homemade sausages.
The pork is ground in a grinder. Then the ground pork is put into a tube-like appliance and stuffed into a collagen casing. The link is then divided into a desired length and cooked in a steamer for about 5 minutes. Then voila, you have delicious homemade sausages. The biggest draw for these sausages is that you can put your favorite vegetables or grains to make sausages that are not only tasty but healthy as well.
시중에서 파는 거는 개인적으로 좀 이렇게 자극적으로 느껴질 때도 있는데 이거는 맛을 보니까 약간 저염인 것 같아요. 그래서 요즘 사람들이 이런 뭐 로컬 푸드나 생협에 관심이 많은데
This new sausage stuffer can make up to 1 kilogram of sausage. The appliance weighs only 5 kilograms, so it's not too bulky for home use. The steamer is designed to hang sausages for even cooking and to maintain the temperature of 80 degrees.
소비가 꺼려하는 이런 고단백 저지방 돼지 뒷다리 부위를 소비할 수 있고요. 어머니들은 아기들이 좋아하는 맛이라든지 크기로 그리고 천연 재료만 가지고 소시지를 직접 만들어 먹일 수 있는.
A stuffer and steamer set would be priced in the low $200 range. The Rural Development Administration plans to transfer the technology behind this sausage maker to a private company and start marketing it later this year.
Top Korean actor Lee Byung-hun has been tapped to join the cast of Terminator 5, scheduled for release next year. Meanwhile, K-pop group 2NE1 has been named one of the girl groups to watch.
Actor Lee Byung-hun, who gained international fame with the movie G.I. Joe, has decided to join the cast of Hollywood blockbuster Terminator 5. Lee's management agency said that he is to play an important character in the upcoming Terminator film, which is scheduled to be released next year. Arnold Schwarzenegger will reprise his role as a Terminator, and director Alan Taylor of Thor: The Dark World will take the helm. Come back home. Can you come back home? Yeah. Girl group 21's second album, Crush, has opened at 61st place on the Billboard's 200 and has been earning rave reviews from major music critics in the U.S. The Los Angeles Times wrote that 21 showcased K-pop's bright future in America with its new album, and the U.S.'s online media BuzzFeed included 21 among the 11 girl groups from around the world to love. Mama, she's killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Legendary rock group Queen is to hold its first concert in Korea at Supersonic 2014 this August. The world-famous band has rocked the world since 1971 with mega hits such as Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions. Queen has sold more than 300 million albums worldwide so far.
The advantage of an electric cooker is that you can prepare a large portion of rice at one time. Let's take a look at the various rice cookers on the market and how they can be used to manage time and cook tasty rice. There are few foods out there that can top modest, unpretentious white rice when it comes to filling your belly with energy and nutrition. Cooking rice has evolved over the years. First, iron pots and stone pots. These give rice a nice savory taste, but adjusting the heat is tricky and they're not the most convenient to use. When it comes to convenience, the electric cooker is king. Nearly every Korean household has one. These days, the inside pot is made in a range of different materials which helps adjust the taste of your rice. But one downside is the high energy consumption. Meanwhile, the regular pressure cookers use energy more efficiently. Rice is cooked under high heat and high pressure, which also reduces cooking time. But there's a risk of accidents like getting a burn if you try to open the cooker lid before the steam is completely discharged. All said, the electric cooker is the most commonly used. Taking good care of the appliance is important.
밥하고 나면 이런 데서 뭐가 떨어지는 것 같아, 닦아도.
Let's address this problem with water and vinegar. Here's how to do it. First, pour 2 cups of water and a spoonful of vinegar in the cooker. Then press the cook button and have the vinegar mix do its thing for 20 minutes. Then let the steam out. The vinegar will have thoroughly sterilized the pot and removed any smell. The area which vents the steam out and the pressure pendulum on top of the lid can be rinsed with water mixed with baking soda. Use a cotton swab to clean every nook and cranny. See, there's a lot of dregs. Cleaning tools are hidden under the pot. Even many avid rice cooker users have no idea. Use this nozzle cleaner to clean all the clogged holes. Also, detach the rubber packing from time to time for a good wash. Make sure there's no moisture left on the rubber. Once the cleaning is done, let's cook up some rice. Put in 1.2 times more water than the amount of rice. Then you'll have deliciously prepared rice in no time. If you keep the rice for an extended period, obviously it won't taste as good as time passes, so cook a reasonable portion. Cast iron and stone pots are more challenging than other rice cookers when it comes to maintenance. Wash the pots with warm water and dry them completely. It's also good to coat some cooking oil on the pot surface after it's used and washed. The oil coat will help prevent rusting and also lengthen the pot's lifespan. But problems can still occur during cooking, like water leaking out or the rice burning. As for stone pots, adjusting the amount of water is crucial. The water should come up 1 centimeter higher than the rice when measured with your hand. So let's try cooking today with an iron pot, which goes well with the spring season.
봄철 피로회복과 춘곤증 예방에 좋은 냉이 영양밥을 만들어 보도록 하겠습니다.
For cast iron pots, put in no more than 2/3 of the pot volume. Use rice soaked in water for about 30 minutes beforehand. Adjust the water level as well as the heat strength. Use high heat for the first 5 minutes, then another 5 on medium heat and another 5 on low heat. Then turn off the heat and drop in some shepherd's purse or jujube and let the rice settle for 10 more minutes. Here we have a super nutritious spring herb rice dish cooked in an iron pot. A key to making tasty rice concerns choosing the right cooker. Wisely choose the cooker that fits you best for delicious rice at every meal.
Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. That's it for this edition of News Today. We'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Have a great day.